What's up, nerds? My name's Corey Bergeron, and you're watching Corey Bergeron Recordings, and we're back with a brand new video. I'm not in my basement. I am here at Pebble Studios, and it feels good. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the preamp of the Scarlett 2i2 versus the preamp of the Neve 5032. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Scarlett 2i2 is like a consumer-grade, cheap, affordable interface. I think it retails for like $200-ish. It's got two preamps on it. It obviously takes care of the analog to digital conversion. It's USB. It's super easy to use. I recommend to all musicians to get one of these that don't know much about recording, because if you have a Mac computer, you don't even need to install a driver. It just works. You plug it in and it works. And then on the other end, we have the Neve 5032, which is like a pro grade preamp. It also has an EQ on it. And if you know anything about audio production or audio gear, you know that anything that says Neve is of a certain standard of quality. It is kind of like the holy grail of audio equipment. So I'm going to be comparing the preamps of the Scarlett to the Neve 5032 in this video, and we're going to see what the difference is. But before we do that, if you plan on releasing music anytime soon, I recommend using the service DistroKid. DistroKid is a service that allows you to get your music on all the major online music streaming services and platforms. I use it for just a low annual rate. You can upload as much music as you want, and you get to keep 100% of your royalties, which is a good thing. So if you plan to sign up, use my link www.distrokid.com/VIP/whatsupnerds, and you will save 7%. Supports the channel. You get to save money. It's a good thing. Okay, back into the video. I had my first session in this studio for the first time since February, like a couple days ago. Obviously, the whole COVID thing happened. I was in Brazil right as it started, and I got back. It was March 15th, and everything was closed. So I had my first session in here, and it was a vocal session, and I recorded the vocals using the TLM 103, which is a Neumann microphone, going into a Neve 5032 preamp, and then into the distressor. I took the files home, and I was amazed at how effortlessly good it sounded. It sounded so good. I did a little bit more compression, EQ, and de-essing in post, and that was my final vocal. So I was like, why does it sound so good? I've used the signal chain a million times, but I think what made it stand out to me was I've been using my Scarlett 2i2 a bunch over the last handful of months due to this whole COVID thing. I've actually made a couple records with it over the last couple years, but it made me think, what is the difference between the Scarlett 2i2's preamp versus the Neve 5032's preamp? So that's what we're going to compare in this video. Let me show you how we're going to do it. To do any sort of preamp comparison, you need to make sure that you're using the same source. If I was going to record two separate performances, there's going to be a ton of bias because the two performances just naturally are going to sound different. Also, I'm sorry for the lighting here. It's not very good, but I'm going to show you how we're doing this. So we are, and my microphone's going to get really quiet here, we are taking advantage of what's called a multi. So here on the patch bay, I'll explain it to you. Okay, so you have a multi, which means you can send a signal into it, and then you can take that signal and send it out to 3 different places. So what we're doing is we're taking this Neumann M149 tube microphone that is going into the multi, and then we're sending out of the multi into the Neve 5032 preamp and into the Scarlett preamp simultaneously. So that's happening at the same time, and those are both being sent to the RME converters. The reason why we're using the RME converters is so we can really level the playing field to make sure that there's no conversion difference that is affecting the sound here. So the only difference in these two signals are the preamps. One's using the Scarlett, one's using the Neve. So I'm going to record two different sources. I'm going to record me talking. I'm also going to record some acoustic guitar, and then I'm going to A/B between them. I'm not going to tell you which one you're listening to, so you can come up with your own, decisions of which one sounds better or what differences you are hearing. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to take these files home, and then I'm going to listen to them, gather my thoughts, and then tell you what you are listening to. So be sure to stay till the end of the video. And yeah, I'm going to record myself talking, and then I'm going to record some acoustic guitar, and then we're going to listen to what we recorded. Alright, I am talking into the Neumann M149 tube microphone. I am recording simultaneously the Scarlett 2i2 preamp as well as the Neve 5032 preamp, and they are both going into the RME converters. Alright, I am talking into the Neumann M149 tube microphone. I am recording simultaneously the Scarlett 2i2 preamp as well as the Neve 5032 preamp, and they are both going into the RME converters. tool. Alright, so we are back here in my basement. You just listened to the audio files, and obviously I switched between 1 and 2, so you were listening to them blind, so you could get a unbiased opinion, or you could formulate your own unbiased opinion, and hear the differences. So let me tell you, here we go, drum roll. The first thing that you heard, number 1, was the Neve, and number 2 was the Scarlett, and that's the same for both the vocal and the acoustic. So if you go back and listen to it, when you were listening to track number 1, that was the Neve, and track number 2 was the Scarlett. So let me talk about what I'm hearing. I listened through a couple times, and to me the Neve sounds just a tiny bit more open, a little brighter, and the Scarlett has just a little bit more like woofiness to it. I'm hearing like in the 200 to 400 range. Just a little bit more woofy, generally unpleasant, at least on the application. I was hearing it big time on the acoustic, and yeah. Now let's talk about a couple things to wrap this video up. If I had the option to record with 32 Neve preamps versus 32 Scarlett preamps, I would choose the Neve preamps every single time. I think this is a very basic comparison. As you crank the gain on, let's say, a Class A preamp versus, cranking the gain on a Scarlett, that's where you get to hear, more differences in how they interact. When I'm recording with the Neve, I like to run it as hot as I can before clipping, and I find that brings up the harmonic saturation, and it just, it just sounds like a little crispier in a good way. With the Scarlett, I find, especially if I'm using a microphone like the Shure SM7B, something that has a really low output, a low SPL, that when I crank the Scarlett preamps on it, it gets a little noisy. So that is one difference that I've experienced. But I guess the big takeaway from this video, and this is kind of what I've assumed for many years, is when you're recording audio, when I'm being hired, my goal is to create the best music and to obviously create a great production. So obviously I want high quality gear. But the preamp is not the most important part of the signal chain, and don't let people on the internet tell you otherwise. Yes, preamps sound different, some more than others, but it's not the biggest difference. For example, if you have a crappy drummer, it doesn't matter if you use state-of-the-art equipment, it's going to still sound like a crappy drummer. And on the opposite, if you record an amazing drummer in, I don't know, this basement with a Scarlett 20i18 or whatever those 8 preamp Scarlett interfaces are, it's still going to sound good. It's going to sound like an amazing drummer. If you were to use a different microphone versus a different preamp, I think that's going to make a bigger difference sonically. So I guess the conclusion here is I don't want anyone watching this video or anyone that's learning production to think that they can't create high quality music and that their tools are what are limiting them. We are in 2020. You can go out and buy one of these Focusrite Scarletts for like $200, and you can go and make a record with it. And there's never been a time like this last decade where plugins are more accessible than ever, DAWs are more accessible than ever, and also the gear is more accessible. So it is the best time for anyone to be making music. There are no excuses. Don't think that the tools that you have are holding you back, because yeah, for a small investment you can make great music. Anyways, Neve versus Scarlett. Pretty interesting. Okay, that is it for the video. Thank you very much if you made it to the end. If you want to support this channel and you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments section down below. You can also head on over to my Patreon page where you can download multi-tracks, tracks that I worked on, and you can practice mixing those tracks and improve your mixing. It's good if you want one-on-one lessons with me. Also, head on over to the Patreon. I have a higher tier where you can sign up for one-on-one lessons with me. Anything that you're struggling with audio production-wise, we can do a one-on-one video chat and kind of figure it out. That is it. Join my Discord group. We talk about audio. We talk about Lockett-related things. Lockett is my band. You probably know that. Maybe you don't. I don't know. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That is it. Links for everything down below. DistroKid's a good thing. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.